Hello, Dexter Morgan.
Harrison pulled the trigger. Dexter fell into the snow. New Blood gave us an ending the original series couldn't. Dexter Morgan, dead by his own son's hand, paying the price for a lifetime of lies and manipulation. Then, 3 years later, Showtime said, actually, he survived. And here's the shocking part. It worked. Against all odds, against every instinct that told us revivals are cheap cash grabs, Dexter Resurrection proved that sometimes a show refusing to stay dead isn't about corporate greed. Sometimes it's about finally getting it right. This is the story of how a franchise learned from its mistakes, embraced what made it great in the first place, and delivered the Dexter we always deserved. Dexter Resurrection picks up 10 weeks after New Blood's ending. Dexter survives the gunshot wound from Harrison and wakes from a coma to discover his son has vanished to New York City. The premise sounds absurd on paper, a literal resurrection of a character we watched die.
Hello there.
But showrunner Clyde Phillips understood something crucial. If you're going to bring Dexter back, you have to justify it narratively, not just financially. The series became Showtime's most streamed premiere ever, drawing 3.1 million global viewers in its first 3 days. 44% more than Dexter Original Sin and 76% more than New Blood. But what's remarkable isn't the viewership numbers. It's the 95% Rotten Tomatoes approval rating based on 62 critic reviews. This isn't nostalgia driving those numbers. This is a show that remembered what made Dexter compelling in seasons 1 through 4.
Hello, Dexter Morgan.
Then built something new on that foundation. The key difference? Emotional honesty. Resurrection makes Dexter vulnerable in ways we've never seen before. When he first spots Harrison from afar, he wishes he could cry because the emotion hits him so powerfully. He confesses to Harry's ghost that he's afraid, terrified actually, that Harrison might reject him and wish him dead. This isn't the cold, calculating killer we watched for 8 seasons.
Sorry.
This is a man who survived death and realized he has something to lose. But emotional depth alone wouldn't save this show. Resurrection needed a concept as bold as its premise. Enter Leon Prater, played by Peter Dinklage, a billionaire venture capitalist who runs a secret society of serial killers. Phillips revealed the idea was loosely inspired by real-world horror, specifically Robert William Pickton, the Canadian serial killer known as the Pig Farmer. But Resurrection takes that disturbing concept and transforms it into something structurally brilliant for the franchise. Dexter assumes the identity of Ronald Schmidt, the Dark Passenger, a serial killer he's just murdered, to infiltrate Prater's exclusive gatherings. At the first dinner party, he meets other killers. Kristen Ritter as Lady Vengeance, Neil Patrick Harris as the Tattoo Collector, Eric Stonestreet as Rapunzel, and David Desmalchian as the Gemini Killer. Prater leads Dexter into a hidden museum behind a wall of wine bottles, a tribute to serial killers throughout history. Inside are artifacts from Jeffrey Dahmer, the Bay Harbor Butcher's blood slides, and most devastatingly, the hammer from the Trinity Killer, the same weapon Dexter used to kill the man who murdered Rita. This scene is film school perfect. Watch Dexter's face as he runs his fingers over his own blood slides.
I've missed you, friends.
I missed you, friends, he thinks, unable to contain his laughter before catching himself. It's a moment that crystallizes everything Resurrection understands about its protagonist. Dexter is finally confronting what he is, not what Harry Morgan told him he should be. Dinklage explained that Prater's obsession stems from trauma, when his parents died in a car accident. Leon confronted the responsible party and asked what he was thinking in that moment. That conversation unlocked something inside him that never went away. Prater isn't a killer himself, at least not initially. He's an enabler, a collector who studies darkness rather than embodying it. The Serial Killer Club serves multiple narrative purposes. Most importantly, it forces him to confront a question he's avoided his entire life. If he stopped pretending to be normal, if he fully embraced what he is, would he find community, acceptance, or would he discover he's more alone than ever? While Prater's society provides the external conflict, the emotional core of Resurrection is the relationship between Dexter and Harrison. And this is where the show does something genuinely brave. It makes both characters complicit in their darkness, while refusing to absolve either of them. In the pilot episode, Harrison kills a man at the Empire Hotel where he works as a bellhop. He discovers the victim, Ryan Foster, drugging a woman to assault her. Harrison murders him and attempts to dispose of the body using techniques Dexter taught him, but makes crucial mistakes that draw police attention. Harrison is repeating his father's patterns and echoing Dexter's entire trajectory. Where Dexter found normalcy with Rita, a single mother with 2 kids, Harrison gravitates toward Elsa Rivera, also a single mother with a young son. The parallels are deliberate and haunting. Episode 7 features a criminology lecture about psychopathy that makes Harrison visibly uncomfortable. Afterward, Dexter reassures him that while he may not experience love like most people, his feelings for Harrison are unshakable. It's the kind of honest, emotionally complex scene the original series rarely attempted. A serial killer teaching his son that their version of love still matters, even if it doesn't look like everyone else's. We need to address the emotional centerpiece of Dexter Resurrection, the character who transformed this season from a clever thriller into something genuinely heartbreaking, Angel Batista. Zayas described this version of Batista as fundamentally different from the man we knew in the original series. There is an innocence that's been chipped away. Angel is darker, he's less trusting, but he's still focused on wanting to do it the right way, he explained. At the end of New Blood, Angela contacted Batista with evidence suggesting Dexter might be the Bay Harbor butcher. For 12 years, Angel believed Dexter was dead. Now he discovers not only is his friend alive, but everything he suspected, everything Maria LaGuardia died trying to prove, was true all along. But here's the problem. Batista is retired and has no authority in New York City. He can't make arrests. He has to convince detectives Wallace and Oliva to help him, but they doubt his investigation, especially after learning from Joey Quinn that Batista is no longer an active officer. By episode 8, Batista stands alone in Dexter's makeshift kill room, while his colleagues dismiss his theory entirely. Episode 9, Batista visits Leon Prater, attempting to warn him about Dexter's true identity. Batista ends up strapped to a gurney in a makeshift kill room, with Prater handing Dexter a knife and demanding he watch the infamous killer in action. Dexter can't do it. He brings the knife down but cuts Batista's restraint instead, freeing him.
We were partners once. Maybe we can be partners again.
For one brief moment, it seems like redemption might be possible. Then Leon Prater shoots Angel Batista in the back. Multiple times. He was right about everything. He followed the evidence, trusted his instincts, and refused to give up even when everyone told him he was chasing ghosts. In a show about serial killers, vigilantes, and people who rationalize monstrous behavior, Angel was the one character who never compromised his principles. And Resurrection reminds us that in this world, that kind of integrity gets you killed. When Showtime announced that Uma Thurman, the Uma Thurman, Mia Wallace herself, the bride from Kill Bill, was joining Dexter Resurrection as a series regular, the casting felt seismic. This wasn't some guest spot or cameo. Thurman was billed second in the credits, right after Michael C. Hall. For someone with 4 decades of iconic roles to commit to a television series in 2025, the character had to be substantial. Charlie Brown is deliberately understated. In early episodes, she's almost a ghost. Brief appearances, minimal dialogue, a cold demeanor that reveals nothing. She's described as Leon Prater's fixer, a former special ops officer turned head of security. She delivers bags of money, coordinates logistics, and maintains an impenetrable exterior. The real brilliance reveals itself in episode 5, Murder Horny, when the show finally cracks open Charlie's facade. We see her visit her old mother in the hospital. For the first time all season, Charlie smiles. It's not a smirk or a tactical expression, it's genuine warmth. She tells her mother a fabricated story about being a school teacher, getting emotional about a student named Tanisha reading in front of the class. The lie is tender and devastating, because we know the truth. Then comes episode 9, where Charlie's arc takes its darkest turn. When Leon shoots Angel Batista multiple times in the back to save Dexter, Charlie is there, helping Prater escape. But this crosses a line she can't uncross. Batista wasn't part of Prater's game. He was an innocent trying to do his job. His death is collateral damage, and for the first time, Charlie sees herself clearly. She's not protecting her mother anymore. She's enabling murder. The finale gives Charlie her freedom. She discovers Prater has been keeping hidden files on her. Insurance, leverage, proof that she was never his partner but his prisoner. She quits, tells him she'll go scorched earth if he comes after her, and leaves to take her mother somewhere safe. It's not a triumphant exit. It's quiet, almost anticlimactic. But that's the point. Charlie Brown isn't a hero. She's a woman who finally realized the cost of her compromises and walked away before she became someone she couldn't recognize. Thurman's performance never oversells any of this. She plays Charlie with restraint, letting micro-expressions do the work, a flicker of doubt, a momentary hesitation before pulling the trigger on a plan. It's the kind of understated excellence that only an actor of her caliber can deliver. She makes Charlie's stoicism feel like armor rather than coldness, and when that armor finally cracks in episode 9, the emotional payoff is devastating precisely because Thurman earned it through 10 hours of disciplined minimalism. Let's talk about what you're actually watching when you watch Dexter Resurrection, because the visual storytelling here is doing as much heavy lifting as the script. Director Marco Siega, who also helmed Dexter New Blood, returns with a specific visual vocabulary that separates Resurrection from its predecessors. The show retains the 21:9 cinematic aspect ratio from New Blood, that ultra-wide frame that gives everything a theatrical weight. But here's what's different. Siega and his team made a critical decision to reintroduce color. New Blood was deliberately cold, muted blues and grays reflecting Iron Lake's isolation and Dexter's emotional detachment. Resurrection embraces New York's chromatic chaos. The cinematography captures autumnal tones of green, gold, and brown in the Empire Hotel's interiors. Colors that should feel warm, but instead register as unsettling, as if something's fundamentally wrong beneath the surface. A cleaned-up crime scene in Episode 2 is framed in glaring reds, the walls seemingly stained with blood that's no longer visible, but can never truly be washed away. This isn't just aesthetic choice, it's psychological mapping. The show uses color to externalize Dexter's internal state. He's no longer in the frozen wilderness running from himself. He's in a city that pulses with life and death simultaneously, where neon lights can illuminate or obscure depending on your angle. Look at the visual design of Prater's museum in Episode 4. The production team created a macabre sequence, a hidden shrine to serial killers lit like a gallery opening. The lighting is theatrical, almost reverent, treating these instruments of death as art objects. It's deeply disturbing, precisely because it's beautiful. The show is asking, what happens when we aestheticize violence? And aren't we, the audience, complicit every time we find Dexter's kills satisfying? What did you think of Resurrection? Did it redeem the franchise? Or should Dexter have stayed dead? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more deep dives on shows that took risks and actually paid off, subscribe. Because unlike Dexter, these analyses won't need to come back from the dead. They'll just keep getting better.